My fiance's daughter said, "Mom's leaving you when my dad gets out of prison. He makes more anyway." I changed the locks and walked away. Now they want me back, but it's too late. Hello Reddit I plus here. I was engaged to my fiancée Celia. We were together for nearly 4 years. She had a daughter from a previous relationship, Kaylee, 13 now, and I'd been raising her like my own for most of her preteen years. We met not long after my divorce. I'd moved back to my small hometown to take care of my late father's house and ended up running the local hardware store. I wasn't in a great place emotionally, but Celia felt like calm after the storm. Funny, warm, and never in a rush. I liked that she wasn't chasing anything fast. Just like me, she seemed to want peace. She told me early on that her ex, Kaylee's father, let's call him Darnell, was in prison. She said it was for drug charges and he had a long sentence, 8 years minimum, according to her. I never pressed. The way she talked about him made it seem like a closed door. We took things slow. I met Kaylee after a few months. She was guarded at first, but we bonded over little things, math homework, old movies, a shared love for weird cereal combos. Eventually, she started calling me Jay, short for Jason, and even though I never asked for it, she once introduced me at school as her second dad. Celia and I moved in together after a year and a half, and I proposed shortly after her 35th birthday. I thought we had something solid, something rare. Fast forward to about 6 months ago, Celia started acting different. Hard to explain unless you've been through it. Texts she wouldn't explain, laughing at her phone late at night, working longer shifts but never having more money, staying up after I went to bed, just generally more distant. I assumed stress. She was taking online classes, trying to earn an associate's in healthcare administration. I encouraged it, figured she was just overwhelmed. We were planning a small wedding. There was a lot on her plate. Then the moment that broke it all. One Saturday I was driving Kaylee to a birthday party. We were just talking about school and her friends, and she said, so casually it almost didn't register, "You know Mom's leaving you when my dad gets out, right?" I thought I misheard. I asked her to repeat it. She did. She said, "You're good to us, but my real dad's getting out soon, and he makes more money. So we're moving in with him." I didn't yell. I didn't say anything. I turned the car around and drove home. I told her she wasn't going to the party. She protested, started crying, but I couldn't pretend I didn't hear what I heard. I confronted Celia the moment we walked in. At first she denied it, said Kaylee must have misunderstood, but when I said I'd ask again, with Kaylee in the room, she went quiet. Then she said it. "He's getting out early, in August." It was mid-July. She didn't apologize, just said she hadn't figured out how to tell me yet, that it wasn't personal, that it wasn't about love, but what made sense for her and Kaylee. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I didn't yell, I didn't argue. I went to the bedroom, locked the door, and didn't come out until morning. Then I changed the locks. When she came home from her diner shift that night, her key didn't work. I met her on the porch, handed her a duffel bag with her essentials, and said, "You knew this was coming." She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She just looked at me like a stranger. Kaylee wasn't with her. I thought that was it. But about 2 months later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside, a printed photo of Celia and Darnell, smiling together at a bowling alley. On the back, someone had written, "Should have waited, Jay. She only picked you to fill time," and below that, in different handwriting, "She wanted to tell you the truth. I told her not to." Darnell. I don't even know how he got my address. I assume Kaylee gave it to him. That night, I went through her old junk drawer, found an old prepaid phone I never knew about. Sure enough, dozens of texts to a number not saved in her regular phone. They'd been talking since 2021. He'd been sending her money through mutual friends. He promised to take care of her and Kaylee when he got out. She just had to keep me around until then. I was never the plan. I was the bridge. Now, here's where I might be the asshole. Celia came back recently, alone, said things hadn't worked out with Darnell. He was controlling, didn't like that she'd kept her online classes going, accused her of being too independent, kicked her out after she questioned him spending her money, which he considered his. She was crying, said she regretted everything, said Kaylee missed me, asked for a second chance. I told her no. Didn't even open the screen door, just said, "You already made your choice." She tried again a week later, this time with Kaylee, who looked genuinely upset, said I was the only stable father figure she'd ever had. I still said no. Now mutual friends and Celia's sister have been messaging me, saying I'm being cruel, that Kaylee didn't do anything wrong, that I kicked a child out of her home, that it was Celia's mistake, not hers. But I feel like they're forgetting something. Kaylee told me what was happening. Not in fear, not in shame, but like it was a game plan. She knew before I did. She kept it to herself. Maybe she's just a kid. Maybe she was parroting what her mom told her. But I also can't go back to living in a house where every smile might be a lie. Every "I love you" a placeholder. A few days after I posted, Kaylee showed up at the store where I work. She didn't come with Celia. She rode her bike and waited until my lunch break to walk in. She asked if we could talk. I'll be honest. My stomach dropped. I didn't know what she wanted, and I wasn't sure I wanted to hear it. But I remembered she's just a kid, and I'd been in her life for nearly 4 years. So I said, okay. We sat on the bench outside. She was holding a little paper bag, said it was a gift. Inside was a keychain I'd bought her years ago at a fair. It was broken, but she'd glued it back together and put it on a new ring. She said, I didn't mean it the way it sounded. And then she started crying. She told me Celia used to say things late at night when she thought Kaylee was asleep. How she talked about how Darnell owed her everything for going to jail. How he'd promised to fix their life. How she said she loved me, but only because I was safe, not because she saw a future with me. She said when she told me that day in the car, she thought she was helping me, that I should know the truth before the wedding, but she didn't understand how deep it would cut. Then she said something that broke me a little. I thought you'd fight for us. I didn't think you'd make us leave. I had to take a breath, a long one. I told her the truth. I did fight. Every time I helped her with homework. Every time I took care of her when she was sick. Every birthday cake I stayed up decorating. Every late-night grocery run when her mom forgot something for school. That was me fighting. But I'm not a backup plan. I'm not someone you use until something better comes along. I told her I still loved her. That might never change. But I can't be her stepdad anymore. Then I gave her the keychain back. Told her to keep it in case she ever needed to remember that someone loved her without strings attached. She asked if we could stay in touch. I said, maybe, someday, when things are stable. Then I walked back into the store. That night, I got a call from Celia. She asked what I said to Kaylee. Said she came home crying and locked herself in her room. I didn't give her much. Just told her, I listened. Something you should have done years ago. She told me I was cruel. That I was punishing them both. That I never really loved them if I could walk away like this. And that's when I finally snapped. I told her, no. I loved you both so much I was willing to build a whole life around it. I was willing to ignore red flags. I was willing to believe the story you gave me about your past. I loved you enough to plan a future. But you loved someone else. And the worst part? You let your daughter believe that using people is normal. That loyalty is optional. That love is a resource you drain until something shinier comes along. She didn't say anything after that. Just hung up. That was 4 days ago. Yesterday, I boxed up the last of Celia's old things and dropped them off at her sister's house. The ring went into a drawer. I don't have the heart to sell it just yet. I've started reading again. I go fishing after work sometimes. The silence is still heavy, but I'm getting used to it. And today I bought a new deadbolt. Not because I'm afraid, but because I'm finally ready to make this house mine again. Thanks to everyone who reached out. Especially the ones who reminded me that choosing yourself after betrayal isn't weakness. It's survival.